Good enough. Episode number 32, MetaMentors. This project is effing awesome. Cue the trailer, Ben.
Go.
You've got land. Building complete.
Ben, episode 32. Affyn is the project, and it is effing legit. Their ambition is to lead the crypto industry in mainstream adoption by creating real-world utility. There's a lot of depth in that sentence there, a lot that I like about it. It's some themes that we've been seeing with some projects that definitely cue me in to pay more attention. Before we deep dive into this one, and they have got a ton of material to cover, so we're going to be whipping through it. At least I know I'm going to be. But before we jump in there, please know that we may go on a bit. We're going to put timestamps down below. So if you don't have the full amount of time, don't look at the amount of time on this recording and run away. Check the timestamps. You can jump around, look at, if you're only interested in the land, you can jump to the land. If you want to know about the tokenization, you can jump there. So use those timestamps while you're there. Please subscribe, leave us some comments. Let us know what projects you're into or what you think about this project. This was brand new to me and Ben a week ago, basically. So we'd love to hear your opinions on it also. And thanks for following. So with that, Ben, I'll throw it over to you for the disclaimer and this week's news.
Nothing we say on this channel can be considered financial advice. This is just for educational and informational purposes only. So do your own research before you put your money into any of these projects. Today is, well, by the time you're seeing this, November 4th. So this last week was the 14th anniversary of the Bitcoin Whitepaper. Released October 31st of 2008. It basically set in motion the entire crypto industry that we're all familiar with today. back in 2008, the anonymous pseudonym, whatever that guy's name is. It's pseudonymous creator, Satoshi Nakamoto. He's the one who sent out the white paper to a small group of cryptographers with the opening lines, "I've been working on a new electronic cash system that's fully peer-to-peer with no trusted third party." And that basically sums it all up right there. That trustless, no third party, peer-to-peer cash system. That's what everybody's trying to get to. That's what builds the foundation for the whole industry. And we'll post a link down below where you can read the Bitcoin white paper. I think it was last week we talked about Business Week. Was it Business Week that posted the whole article. Magazine? Yeah, it was 38,000 words, that article.
40,000, I think, right?
Was it 40?
40, and the one
maybe.
The only other one was 38. Not that it really matters. I mean, who's counting?
Yeah, 40,000. So I just happened to see that the original Bitcoin white paper was about 3,600 words total. So this is about 1/10 of the amount of words that Business Week used in theirs. But this is the original Bitcoin white paper. We'll post a link down in the description of this video. It's all over the internet. You can find it anywhere. But if you want to go to bitcoin.com and see the actual original, exactly what he said, exactly how he laid it out. I just realized I'm not sharing my screen yet. Hold on one second. Here is the original Bitcoin white paper. So we'll post this link down below, and you can take a look at this, go through all the stuff. Some of it's pretty technical, but a lot of it's pretty easy to read. At least you can understand what they're going for. Whoever this Satoshi Nakamoto came up with this great idea, laid it all out, sent it out to a group of cryptographers and said, here, take this to the world, make it happen. And then he sort of just disappeared. Whoever he was didn't take any credit for it, didn't take any Bitcoins for it, didn't do anything for it, just sent it out to the world. Its original release. It's just a super cool deal. Anyways, October 31st is the date. It is the official 14th birthday of the Bitcoin white paper, which is why Ryan and I are here, why you guys are watching this right now. It started a whole industry, which will probably become the 12th sector for investing. I mean, it's a massive deal, and it all got started. It's only 14 years old. I mean, this thing's barely a teenager, and it's already changing the world, but there's so much more to come. Like, it's got so much maturing to do. We're so early. Ryan and I say it all the time, but
yeah, the power of this. I saw a short video that showed the actual compounding breakdown of the expansion of Bitcoin and what it's doing Web3 wise. And it's like, you can see what's happening, but then to see it actually broken down in a simple form of at 2008, it was, or 2009, it was here. At 2012, it was here. Then it was here in the compound. It's right, man. It is
the market explosive. Cap, the delve into every sector of life. I mean, if you think that only 14 years ago it wasn't in
didn't
anything,
even exist.
Didn't even exist, and now real estate, retail, finance, everything has blockchain to some degree or another, and it all got started for the most part 14 years ago on Halloween night. So pretty cool. So that wraps up October. We're rolling into November. November is a notoriously volatile month for crypto and Bitcoin. In 2020, it went up 40% in November. And in 2021, it went down 20%. That's a huge, I mean, if you think about it, because it was already going up in November of 2020, and it was already going down in 2021, and then it dropped another 20%. So we're not sure what's going to happen this year. We are going into November on a slight upward trend. A lot of the major projects are doing pretty good in the 7-day and the 30-day, the percentage, whatever.
Windows.
Yeah, whatever that is right there. I've got it up on my screen. This is just coin market cap. It gives you an idea of the major projects, what they're doing, what their market cap's at, where their prices are. There are several factors that are leading into this month being a good month. One is the Ethereum merge, which happened now over a month ago, just barely a month ago. And two, Elon Musk, the meme lord, has officially taken his spot up at Twitter. So that obviously jumped the price of his favorite crypto, Dogecoin. It's doubled because everybody, all these speculators, all these kids, everybody expects Elon to somehow tie that in to Twitter. I mean, he's talking about subscriptions and tips and blue check marks that you can just buy. And he wants to do it all with crypto. And everybody knows Doge is his favorite crypto. So just speculation has doubled the price of Dogecoin in the last week and a half, probably about 10 days. So,
yeah.
In fact, Dogecoin, because of that, which was the 9th biggest crypto of all time, currently, it just passed Cardano. It is now the 8th biggest by market cap by about $4 billion. So it was barely in the top 10. Now it is firmly in the top 10. In fact, it's just right. It's another 4 billion away from Binance. I mean,
God,
wrap your head around that.
It is a freaking meme coin, and it's I mean, it's above Cardano, Solana, Polygon, just below Binance, Polkadot. Like,
it's more than double what Polygon is.
God, that is insane. The power of influence,
community, influence and community. You're 100% right. I love it. Anyways, 8th biggest cryptocurrency by market cap. It jumped over Cardano. It leads by 4 billion on Cardano. It's more than double Polygon, and it's 4 billion behind Binance. So that's the next one in its sights. Gosh, I can't imagine it passing Binance, but I've seen crazier things. XRP could definitely shoot up or shoot down depending on their lawsuit that's going on right now. Whatever happens at the end of that, if it's good news, that could go up. And if it's not good news, then Dogecoin could be the 7th biggest real quick, which is just crazy to think about. When you think about all the money that's in the top 5, top 10, Dogecoin's up there with the big dogs. So number 2, which we always talk about, which is one of our favorites, Ethereum. It's been a month now since the Ethereum merge. The inflationary ETH supply decreased by over 7,000 Ethereum tokens in the last month. That's about $11 million. Before the proof of stake merge, it was proof of work. And if it was still in proof of work, I've got the numbers here. If it was still in proof of work, ETH supply would have increased by 365,000 ETH or 576 million. Instead, it dropped by 7,000 ETH, which is 11 million. I mean, it's gone 11 down instead of 576 up. So to give you an idea of how big of a deal the deflationary Ethereum token is now. I mean, I know this is a simple analogy and I know you guys get it, but if you had one of 100 gold coins and there was only 100 gold coins in the entire world, and then all of a sudden 25 of them disappeared or were shot into space and no one could ever retrieve them, and now you had one of 75 coins, it becomes that much more valuable. Even though your coin doesn't change, now it is one of less. And that's what's happening with the proof of stake Ethereum network. Every day now, we're burning and getting rid of so many tokens that it is deflationary. The tokens that you hold become more valuable, which is, it's hard to put into words what that does financially. That's the exact opposite of every other financial system ever. You know what I mean? Like if you were to take $1,000 and hide it under your bed and then come back in 5 years and pull out that $1,000, what you could have bought for $1,000 today will buy you nothing in 5 years. It's not the case with Ethereum. Now it is making the case and making the cause and encouraging people to lock some of this money away, to stake it, to hold on to it, to not spend it, to build up the network. It's doing it. It's doing what it was supposed to. The merge has been successful. We are a month in, and it just continues to build on its own success. So that's excellent news.
Yes. Yeah. Loving it.
Teleport, which is a ride-sharing app. It's a decentralized Uber, basically. Just raised $9 million. I know we've talked about these type of companies before. We've talked about how decentralization is really going to get after some of these companies. But this $9 million, they've raised it in a bid to compete with Uber and Lyft. That would be, well, it would be devastating for the Uber and Lyft markets, but it would be huge for people who use ride-sharing apps, both as riders and as drivers, because without that middleman that takes the huge chunk, drivers would make more per ride, riders would pay less. There would be no goofiness in between. It would just, I was reading about this one. They were talking about you could earn the token in the deal, and the more tokens you stake, like the higher up the preference ride you can get, you know what I mean? Like you can, request that I only do the downtown rides, or I only do the Uber X, or, the executive style. Like you can actually
from the airport, or
which is cool, which would make sense if you had the NFT that, gave you the golden chauffeur badge. You got the good long rides, or you could kind of pick it, and the difference between obviously decentralized anything and a centralized something like Uber is Uber isn't making a lot of money. Uber's shareholders are. They're spending a lot of money. Right now, both Uber and Lyft are working in a negative cost base. They're losing money like crazy, but they keep raising money like crazy because it's getting used everywhere. And they're getting used. Anything that's a network that can get used by 1 billion people is valuable, even if it's costing them money to do it. And stuff like this, there's a couple of different companies, including Teleport, that are getting after this, but it's just another look into how disruptive blockchain technology can come. If you've got beef with Uber for whatever reason, options like Teleport or some of these other companies that are doing it give you the option to go, look, I just want to deal directly with the driver. I get asked this. I drive for Uber and Lyft on the weekends, and I get asked this all the time. Can we just not go through Uber, and can I just pay you? And that leaves a lot of stuff open. If you don't have a trustless system, if you don't have any sort, it's like, okay, yeah, I'll do this. And then you drive them there, and they can walk out of your car and go, tough, I'm not paying. And you don't have anybody to complain to. But that's why Uber and Lyft have the policies that they do. They're necessary unless you were to have some sort of a decentralized, trustless, peer-to-peer system where it was like, his money went here, you didn't get it until you completed the ride. It can tell where you're at, GPS. I mean, like, it knows when stuff's done. You got the smart contracts where you don't have to trust the person getting into your car to pay. It's taken care of. It's a foregone conclusion already on the blockchain, locked in. If you take them from here to there, it's a done deal. It's going to be a huge game changer. To be honest, I think that Uber or Lyft should probably dip their toes into. Yeah, they should probably get into it and just start using this type of technology and take out a lot of the centralization of their product. But if they don't, then eventually somebody, it may not be Teleport, but it's going to be somebody like Teleport that does to Uber and Lyft what Uber and Lyft did to taxis. Yeah. So it's coming. It's the nature of the industry that the smartest, fastest, cheapest technology wins in the end. And Teleport just took another step forward by raising $9 million. And $9 million, when Uber was getting its first round, they raised 100 million or 150 million. And in the corporate world, it takes that much money to be relevant because you're paying CEOs and you're paying all this stuff. But $9 million in a blockchain company is a lot of money. You could do a lot of damage with a decentralized dApp, basically, with $9 million. So,
yeah, exactly. It's superior technology again.
Absolutely.
Making it all possible and making it better. It appears, at least.
I would love that. I mean, I would love to be able to, pick riders and pick areas. Just the other day, again, I picked somebody up in downtown Dayton because of the way that Uber's set up. Picked them up in Dayton, and then you get there and you see, oh, I'm driving you to downtown Cincinnati, and they're like, yeah, and I'm like, okay, well, that's an hour and a half drive. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you drive an hour and a half that way, and then you get down there, and then Uber doesn't let me because I'm not authorized to drive in that area. I can't pick anybody up from that area, and I got to drive all the way back to Dayton. So there's just the different rules that happen with a centralized company. You don't have that issue with a decentralized. It's like, look, this isn't between us. This is between you two. We're just facilitating the payments and the agreements. So there's a lot to be improved in rideshare. And who knows? Teleport might be the one. November 4th, 2022, we're calling it Teleport. It's going to be the third in the Uber, Lyft, and Teleport.
The first Web3 version. Watch out.
There you go. All right. That's what I've got for news. That's what's happening this week in crypto. Ethereum's up. Whitepaper turned 14. And Uber's about to be taken down.
Let's jump right into the story of Affyn and the Nexus world, which we're going to explore the lands of. So their claim, or what they're going after, is what you see right there. Reimagine a play-to-earn metaverse where the virtual and the real world converge. We've heard this before, but I don't know that we've quite seen something like this, at least on the Web3 version. And I'm going to compare it to another geolocation-based game, which about, everybody knows about. It's probably the best comparison, especially, we like to use Ready Player One. This comparison works very similar to that for this Affyn project. So Affyn's ambition is to lead the crypto industry in mainstream adoption by creating real world utility, AKA, Ben, getting paid, and free swag also. And not just swag, some really, really cool stuff, along with prizes such as vacations, merch, and lifestyle activities like laser tag, wine tasting, shopping mall raids, and that's just to name a few. It's a free-to-play mobile geolocation-based game built on the Polygon blockchain. Another Polygon blockchain project. We see that constantly because Polygon's a layer 2 on Ethereum. It just makes a lot of sense, a lot of security. It's incorporating real-world locations with the Web3 and also NFTs, digital land, and tokenization. So real-world locations combined with Web3 assets, or in simpler terms, ownership of in-game assets. So here's my comparison. Picture Pokemon Go. Remember that, Ben? That was the one where people were running into the street blindly chasing Pokemons, getting hit by cars, like all sorts of madness. You do remember? Okay, it's kind of a big deal. I think you were.
I wasn't hit.
People, right?
I wasn't hit by a car. I wasn't hit by a car. Okay, I was almost hit by a car.
Well, you and hundreds of thousands of others, but so picture Pokemon Go, but instead of winning a lame ass player upgrade within the game, you win a trip to Paris for 2. You and Abby headed to Paris because you got on Affyn and won an award. That ought to have your attention. And if you like that, wait until you see the game mechanics and land. But before we get in there, one of my favorite things, that I put a lot of attention on is the project of these. So let's go ahead and hear from the CEO. Oh, there you go. That must have been a big one that they were after.
That was, I think they said Squirtle in like Central Park or something.
God bless, that's crazy.
Biggest Pokemon Go stampede. So this is what's coming. This is what's coming every weekend with Affyn.
Yeah. I guess at least you're not in your house, but
this is exercise. This is community.
Yeah, it's something. So here's the CEO of Affyn, and he says it best. I'm going to let him say it.
Most play-to-earn games are not just facing the issue of an unsustainable outflow to reward its players, but more importantly, it lacks real-world utility. I believe that the company who has the solution to this issue is not only going to just revolutionize the play to earn category, but it's also going to lead the entire industry into mainstream adoption. And that is what Affyn aims to become.
So it's a no-brainer again. These companies want to be first. They want to lead the industry. They want to get, massive adoption, bringing Web 2, us, regular people into Web 3. And they're doing it by pairing it with utility, like you just showed with Pokemon, around doing things, but capture some of their creatures, then you actually, win a real, a real prize, whether it's, like I said earlier, wine tasting, or it's some of the bigger ones are like a trip to Paris, just some cool stuff like that. So that's CEO. Here's a little bit of who they are. They get the name Affyn from the root word affinity. And so obviously that covers a lot of ground. They've got a really spectacular team that they put together with tons and tons of experience. Some of these guys and gals have over 20 years of experience, not just within the field, but leading the field that they're in. Some of them for like top 4 world companies. So really, really impressive. I'm not going to go into all of these, but one of the most important ones is your creative director. And let me just highlight some of the stuff that Mr. Cedric has been involved with here. So he's been at it for over 25 years. He's worked for some companies such as Ubisoft, LucasArts, NetEase. Some of the projects he's been involved with: Tomb Raider, Star Wars, Ghost Recon, and then even some Unreal stuff. Over 25 years experience, as I mentioned. Under his belt, 20 plus AAA games. This guy,
that's pretty impressive.
This guy has got it going on. And so,
because how many of these projects that we've gone over are trying to create one AAA rated game, and this guy's got a resume of over 20? That is impressive. And like the stuff you were saying, Ubisoft, Star Wars, all that stuff. I mean, that is a great lineup of stuff to have.
Yeah. And as you get into, obviously as you dive into this game and see what they're creating, you can clearly see this is a superior project that's going on. The graphics, the ideas, the storyline, everything behind it is just, it's really, really rocking. So the goal here, obviously, is this is a play to earn game. That's what that's what these are all about. But like the CEO mentioned, he doesn't feel a lot of these projects are doing a very good job. A big example and they don't come out and say it, but probably the obvious example is what's going on with Axie Infinity right now. If you don't have new blood or people buying currency and, putting income into the actual game to play, there's not enough to pay out the players that are already there. So this CEO, this company, this project Affyn recognizes that that's an ongoing problem, that you've got to be able to get some real utility, get a consistent amount of income in, and that's how they're building this project. Their go-to is the geolocation part of it, and that doesn't even an explanation. You can see why that's so attractive. It's attaching to the real world, which we all know and love. So the idea of,
I was just going to say, as far as finding ways to make money, in their white paper and their pitch deck, they've got a document where they talk about this stuff, all the different ways they plan on bringing in money. That geolocation is a huge one. People don't really realize what a business would pay, what Northwoods Mall, what the Dayton Mall, what Simon Mall would pay to have 10,000 people, go crazy at their mall, to end up on YouTube as a viral, to have 10,000 people searching all over Town East Mall for a rare buddy. I mean, that's huge. And they'll pay, I mean, that's advertising costs, the meetups, all that kind of stuff. That's a huge income producer that would actually be used to pay both the staff and the players. I mean, that's why some of these games where everything's online, it's all virtual. Yeah, you can pay to have ads pop up on the screen, but I mean, the amount of money that real world businesses that don't have to get too involved with the metaverse would pay. Again, like I said, shopping malls or Walmarts or restaurants. If you found out that at one of the Jimmy Johns in Wichita, there was a rare buddy, and whoever finds that rare buddy is going to win a trip to Paris for two, which is one of the prizes, one of their grand prizes. Everybody's going to Jimmy John's. You know what I mean? Everybody's, and how many, even if you had 1,000 people go to Jimmy John's and only 1/10 of them, only 10% ate there, that's still way more than we're going there originally. And what would Jimmy John's pay to get 10% of 1,000 people rushing their store to buy a $15 sandwich? It's genius, because that's what a lot of the projects, like what you said, that's what a lot of the projects are missing, is real income sources that doesn't include just membership from other gamers. And this is a big one.
Speaking of income sources, one of my favorite parts about these projects is the virtual land. And the better projects are figuring out ways that you can get paid by multiple income sources, multiple residual income sources with the land. So let's jump into land. Affyn land is modeled after the face of the earth with 33 billion hexagon tiles. That's billion with a B. 9 billion of those are actual land. So 33 total, most of that's water. 9 billion of it is land. Although most of, but not all of the 9 billion land parcels can be roamed on, only 100,000 of those will actually be sold as NFTs or digital land. That's metaverse. That's how you create demand. 9 land parcels, but only 100,000 of them can actually be claimed. Each plot of land is a hexagon with roughly 130 meter circumference. All lands will be one of 4 biomes. So there's 4 biomes: grassland, rocky, desert, and snowy. And then within those 4 biomes, you've got 4 levels of rarity too. So as we get into this, so as I said, 33 billion, it's almost 34 billion. And then here's some of the land rarity that it's breaking it down. So you got common, which is 81%, rare at 15%. So massive drop off between the least common to the next. Then you got epic, which is 3%, and mythical, which is 0.3%. And this is of the 100,000 tiles. 50,000 of those are available right now that you can do what's called plant your flag to claim those lands. You can't claim them yet, but there's going to be 50,000 available. There's going to be the remaining 50,000 will be released after the game is playable, after the game actually goes live. And so I'm going to get into a little bit of the planting the flag, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. So as a landowner, you have full control over the land developments. So not only is there biomes, there's levels of rarity, now you can actually develop your land also. And there's 3 forms of development that you can use. There's facilities, there's nature, there's decorations, and all 3 are available as NFTs for purchase on Affyn's marketplace. The developments, of course, offer different utilities and opportunities to improve your overall ROI and also player demand, depending on, what each player is into. These are only available for purchase. So you can only purchase these developments if you actually own land or if you're a leaseholder for these lands. So you heard me correctly. If you actually own the land, you could lease it. Ben didn't own any. I did. He wanted to create a project or an event or something on that land. He can lease the land from me and then put further there to meet his needs. So overall, the concept is super simple. Claim a high traffic plot, claim a high traffic plot, the most high traffic area you can find for your budget. Increase the rarity, get as high a rarity as you can, and develop that rarity to maximize its fun, but also its income potential. So I don't think I've said this yet, but this project, as I'm fully sure you're going to back me up on, has a ton of information, and it's laid out really, really well. But they've got pitch decks, they've got white pages, they've got the actual website. A lot of it is redundant, but depending on what you're into, you can get into further and further details. As for land, I like the white paper a lot. It gets into the virtual land portion of it. As we talked about, 33, almost 34 billion hexagon tiles. That's across the world. 9 billion or 9.8 are actual land, so non-water, but only 100,000 of those can be bought. So if you break these percentages down, here's the actual numbers of what we'll be able to sell. That's a little hard to see. Not sure if I can.
No,
increase.
I'm far away from my screen. You're good. That's normal.
And then so that gets into, here's some of the rarity. We spoke about the top rarity is mystical, then you got epic, rare, and then common. Here's a little bit of idea of like a snowy region, what, you know, a common could look like versus a mystical. Some of the land features. And as far as features, so just like it says here, as far as features go, there's a certain amount of features that each project or each parcel of land will have. So if your rarity is common, you only have 5 features. If it's mystical, you get 9 features. And the quality of the features as the rarity increases. So these 5 aren't equal to 5 of the 9 mystical. The mysticals are much more valuable and the rarity is much more rare than the common. So little details like that they've added in to increase the value and the sheer demand for traffic or citizens to come to your plot so that you can get paid. Really, really in depth. I've got a short video I'm gonna play here in just a minute, and he talks about a little bit of it, and we're gonna break it just a tiny bit down. But so you can play this game. It's free to play. You don't have to own any land. You don't have to buy anything. If you play, you're considered a citizen. If you buy an actual piece of property, you become a mayor. As a citizen playing this game, you actually have to pick a hometown, which is like your home base parcel, and that's where you start from. It's where you teleport back to. Getting into some of the biomes here, as I mentioned, you've got grassland, desky, and snowy, and then it breaks it down even further. So like take the grassland biome here, you got those woods or savanna. And so here's kind of some pictures of it.
And each one of those areas spawns a certain type of these buddies, these NFTs that you're searching for. So the mythical lands will spawn the mythical buddies. And there's something about, I didn't look too far into the land, but there's something about you can go to the hexagon that is your hometown or that you're the mayor of, and any of the ones that are touching it, but you can't go beyond there without paying some sort of a searcher's fee. So if you're looking for rare and mystical deals and you go onto someone's land, 1, they're going to get a piece of it if you find it, and 2, it costs you something just to get on there and look for it, except for any of the land that touches yours. So they were already talking about you're looking for mythical land if you can afford it. But if not, you want to get a rare land that's touching or close to a mythical land, because then you have the ability to go over there and use their features and search for their people, which is real cool, because obviously the more common land is going to spawn more common NFTs and the rare land. So you don't want to be in a common land way out far away and then have to pay to go look everywhere. So there's going to be some strategy to how you're buying the land. Obviously, it's going to favor the early adopters, but then because they're only releasing parts of the cities at a time and only so many tiles, as the game goes on, they will reopen those possibilities with more mythical, more common, more rare. So just because you miss out on the initial land sale or something like that, it doesn't keep you from being able to get something later on down the line, because they're going to be releasing this in steps over time. To make it fair for everybody, even people who don't know about it 6 months before the game comes out.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So even if you can only afford the bottom piece of land, there's some strategy that you can play that gives you an advantage over some of the other common land, that, the lowest denominator of land. But there's so much of this that I can get into. They've designed this land portion of it so in depth with so many good ways. If you like to play some strategy type games and be, really kind of get in there and figure out, how to maximize the value, whatever, your land or your NFTs or whatever, you could go nuts in this project. So that's the white paper going into it. Here's the pitch deck. I think it goes into some of it also. If you'd rather have, a little more pictures, a little more color, some of the breakdowns there. But I'm going to move this along and jump right into this video here. But before I do that, I've got to switch screens.
Okay, while you're switching screens, the pitch deck, if you go to affyn.com, AFFYN, as in affinity, up at the top, it says pitch deck. And pitch deck is the white paper, but broken down to the most important parts. Very easy to read, very easy. If you're just curious about the project as a whole, go up, click on pitch deck. It just breaks it down. It talks about the token, the games, the team, the easiest parts to read of the white paper. Makes it very easy for you to decide whether or not you want a piece of this project at all, whether as a gamer or as an investor. That pitch deck, I think more people should do that and break down their white paper. That makes it very easy to read, and it's very entertaining even.
Yeah, some big, nice pictures. So this video we're going to watch right here. So today is November 3rd. As today, they just released the actual map where you can look at tiles to try and decide what to buy. You cannot buy any till December. They're not releasing any until December, but the map opened today, so you can go on there and start planning your strategy to get some of these tiles, whether it's one or multiple bought. But he's going to go into a little bit of a description here that's real good.
The way it works is that when we will be delimiting a land sale area, I'm going to give an example of 50,000 tiles. We have Singapore here on screen, right? So let's stick to that example. Singapore is roughly 50,000 tiles, the size of the entire island. Mm-hmm. But we will not be selling all 50,000 tiles. We will be selling, example, 1,000 tiles, right? And if you break it down by the rarity ratio, that's 817 common, 150 rare, 30 epic, and 3 mythical, right? Mm-hmm. That adds up to 1,000, and this is roughly how we will break it down, following those ratios. So only 1,000 tiles can be sold, but if there's any 1,000 tiles within these 50,000.
Okay, so let me get it straight. So let's say, for example, we're launching Singapore, that's 50,000 tiles worth of land, but only the 1,000 is available for sale. So we don't dictate which part of this 1,000. You will choose from this 50,000, and then once this 1,000 gets selected, that's it for Singapore.
Exactly.
Oh, that's nice. That means there could be, let's say, although there's only 3 mythical available, there could be, I don't know, like 50 or my math is bad. Yeah, math 50 or 100 mythical.
150.
You're welcome. That's why he's the CPO. I'm not the CPO.
I listened to this AMA several different times because there's so much information in it. It wasn't till probably the third time I listened to this that I actually caught what he was really, really saying. So they're going to release these cities. So December hits. Now you can plant your flags, and you can see some of the flags here. If you're to buy some land, if you're just buying a common land, you need 1 flag. Buying the best mythical, you need 27 flags. And I'll show you where you're going to go with those here before long. But what he's saying here is, so let's say, and the example they use is Singapore. So let's say so he's talking about Singapore. It has 50,000 of these hexagon tiles to cover Singapore. But there's only 1,000 plots of land within Singapore that are going to sell. And this is an example. So 50,000 total, but you can only sell 1,000 of them. Within that 1,000, there's only 3 mythical tiles that can be bought. But what's interesting, only 3 can be bought, but there's actually 150 available within that 50,000. So if you're going after mythical, you can pick within 150,000, but once 3 of those sell, boom, mythical is done for Singapore. So you better be on the ball to grab your tile. So that is, to me, that is super, super cool. 50,000 tiles, but only 1,000 are going to sell. All of them are available, but once 1,000 sell, broken down into their rarity categories, that city's done. It's over with. It's on to the next city. I thought that was super, super cool.
You're right. That is cool. And what that does is allows the game to be exciting for an extended period of time. Not that projects like Next Earth aren't going to be exciting for their own reasons, but the sooner you got into Next Earth, people bought the Statue of Liberty, then New York, then Manhattan Island, and now you can't buy any land with, on the original market. You have to get it on secondhand market, but it's all snatched up and it's done. I mean, that project will probably be around for years. And in order to get a hold of some of these projects, it's going to have to be secondhand. But that's not the case with Affyn, because after they go through and do a whole run of cities from around the world, if next year everything's getting busy, they've got a booming economy, things are thriving and people are playing, then they can go back to Singapore, open up another 1,000 tiles of those 50,000 with the same ratios or more, and allow people to jump back in and get some new stuff. But they only have to do it if everything's going good and there's people to fill those places. If the game's running slow, they won't have to. They can just keep it, and that way the game's nice and tight and it's played on 1,000 tiles instead of opening up 50 billion tiles and having people way over here and way over there. They can control the inflow of gamers and actual players and people that are using it. So it's great because, like you said, Singapore will be hot if it's the first one. Everybody's going to jump in. 1,000's going to sell out like that. Then they can move on and go do Paris or Bruges or any place like that. And then if people keep coming and the game keeps growing, they can go right back and open up another bunch of those tiles in Singapore. And it just keeps the excitement going, keeps the money flowing, which is what you need in these type of games.
Yeah, 100%. So marketplace.affyn.com. Here's where you can purchase your flags. They're right now, they are just short of 20,000 Affyn coins, which, if I remember right, that's about 5 cents a token. Is that right?
Yeah. Between 5 and 6.
So there you go. So between 5 and 6. So to buy one flag will run you about $1,000, right? Is that about right? A little more?
Yeah, around there. At today's prices. Yeah.
Yeah, at today's prices. So about $1,000. So to buy a mystical land, you need 27 flags. You're looking at about $27,000. So price-wise, it's definitely not one of the cheaper projects we've looked at, but the value you get seems to be pretty awesome. So marketplace.affyn.com, you buy your flags. Here is, once we get into December, here's where the city launch will happen, where you can go in and start claiming your land. But as of right now, you can go into these maps and start figuring out your plans of what's the parcels you want to try and snag. So you got roughly a month or maybe even a little bit more to get your strategy together on where you're going to try and buy. So, and I was on Discord for Affyn, and I talked to some of them, and currently there's about 15,000 flags that have sold of, like, I think there's a total of 40,000 that are available right now. Once we get to December, if you buy your flags, they go up by, I think, 50% even. So 1,000 today would be, 1,500 or something. So there is a sense of urgency with figuring out if you want to get involved with this project and getting some flags bought. I'm going to stop there. There's way more on land. This is definitely a project we're going to want to follow up on and possibly even invest in again. So I think that's all I got. I'm going to toss it over to you for some gameplay.
Okay. Hold on one second. All right. So for the gameplay, Affyn has created a free-to-play, play and earn geolocation-based metaverse that brings together the virtual world of Nexus with the real world we live in. Literally, like Nexus World is mapped to the real world where users can actually play and participate in the activities based on their geolocation. Think of it like we've been talking about Pokemon Go, except instead of Pokemon, you're searching for digital buddies. Each one of these buddies is an NFT, and capturing them gives you actual ownership of that item to do with what you like. You can keep them, you can sell them, you can use them, or you can spawn new ones. They are also going to host the campaigns like Ryan was talking about. They'll make an announcement and say that, 20 of these wildlife buddies will be attacking a shopping mall this weekend, and players are encouraged to go there and use their augmented reality app on their phone, find, capture these buddies, and earn rewards. They're even hiding the rare buddies. I think the one that I saw was called the Green Monster in the mall. And so only one player is going to find that. And whoever finds the green monster at these malls will win the grand prize, which, again, they had a whole bunch of them. But the big one that Ryan and I keep talking about is the Paris trip for two. I mean, they're really pushing these excellent prizes.
Yeah, you're talking about the lifestyle. I was in the Discord, and I was basically, I said, hey guys, I'm new to this project. What's the coolest thing about it besides the geolocation? And immediately somebody was like, the lifestyle part of it is incredible. Like the awards, the stuff that you can, win or get. And it's very cool.
Yeah, they're big on the trips through Affyn. And we'll talk about this a little bit when we get to the tokenomics, but they've made this whole real world / virtual world, blurred line on you can earn tokens. Yes. And you don't have to take it to an exchange to turn it into fiat to use it in the real world. You can actually buy trips. Like if Ryan and I decided to go on a business trip to Fiji Islands, they have curated trips, sponsored through the company. They've worked out a good deal with the travel company. I can actually pay with these FYN tokens and go on an Affyn trip through the company with the stuff that I've earned by playing in the game. They've got merchant partners. They're going to be selling, obviously, gear. Everybody's going to do merchandise, but that's a big one. You'll be able to buy it with the tokens you're earning in the game, which just gives you more reason to buy into these games, to keep spending money in these games, because it's not just to keep playing. It's to earn prizes. It's to get shirts and caps and mugs, and they've got all that kind of stuff. Plus, they're doing special events. I think Ryan did say they had mentioned like a laser tag, and imagine the sponsorship deals to have a local laser tag company getting with Affyn and going, yeah, let's host one of these here. Affyn gets a good deal on it. Everybody buys in with their FYN tokens, and they have these special player-only events that are happening in the real world, that from wine tastings to laser tag, and then all of the FYN tokens that you're spending count towards your loyalty program. And I think there was loyalty royalty, which is like the highest tier. So if you're spending all these FYN tokens, you go up, you get more chances at rare buddies, you get invited to more events. And so whoever's not just spending the most, but earning the most. I mean, obviously you could go in there and buy your way into the top tier, or you could search around and you could find these buddies and you could spawn them, and you could be very involved in the gameplay and work your way up this tier system and earn these tokens, which will be able to be used in the real world or in the virtual world. All right. And like we've been talking about, the token's name is Affyn. Token ticker FYN. There's 1 billion tokens. They kind of show it in the white paper, how it's broken down, where all the money's going. A lot of it goes to the players. A lot of it goes to the team. You saw their team. They've got a solid team. This is less of a decentralized project and more of a great company working on the blockchain to make this play and earn game. It doesn't really need to be decentralized. So it's not a big deal that the founders, team, and advisors are getting a big chunk of it, because that's who's doing the work. That's who's keeping this game going. There's certain projects where that's kind of a red flag, especially with just token releases, if the founders are getting that much, because then it feels fishy. But in this is a full blown, this is like a Nintendo or a Pokemon Go style company. They need working capital to keep the games coming, to keep all of this stuff coming. So FYN is the token. Like Ryan said, it's about 5.5 cents right now. When it first launched, it had got up to $1.68, and that was only earlier this year. It's done what everything else has done. I'm getting tired of reporting on this. I can't wait. We started our channel right about here, actually. So it would have been so we should have got into this one early. But basically everything we've ever talked about has gone this way. And at some point over here, we're going to start going back up this way. And then it will be real fun to report on these coins. But right now, the token's out. It's been as high as $1.68. Right now, you can get it for under 6 cents. You cannot get it on any centralized exchange. You've got to go through one of the swaps. I'll actually post up here across the screen. It's like Sushi Swap. Some of these decentralized exchanges is the only place you can get it, but that's what they'll be using. It'll be easier once the game launches. You'll be able to buy it in person. Another good thing about these centralized exchanges is you'll be able to use fiat to purchase the in-game assets because, again, it's more of a company, more centralized. So you'll be able to buy it. But if you want to buy it early before it goes back up to $1.68, you've got to do all the hard work and go find it on a decentralized swap. So that's the Affyn token, FYN. You can find it on CoinMarketCap. Let me tell you how much its market cap was. Right now it's at 12 million. So we're looking at some of these projects. What was Axie? Did it get up to 4 billion? Or was that?
I don't remember.
Decentraland and Sandbox were in the billions. So this one's at 12 million. Fully diluted, it's only 56 million. So it's got a lot of room to grow. And I don't need to point out that anything coming from that market, I think they're based in Singapore, but they're in the eastern side of the world. There is a lot of potential for those type of games to grow huge. I mean, there's a lot of people over there that love these type of games. So a $12 million market cap right now, what a perfect time to, if you're into swapping and exchanging, to maybe pick up some Affyn tokens. When they were first talking about buying flags with it, I thought they were saying flex. Listening to these AMAs, I thought you were buying flex, and then that was how you got your land, was you went and you flexed, you put your flex on these. And so I thought, oh man, you could buy flex with this. I thought that was cool, but then I found out it was flags, and that makes more sense. Less cool, but less cool. Sense. Yeah. So that's what we've got going on with the Affyn token. I'll post, like I said, what's the total supply? Is that 1 billion? Max supply is 1 billion. Yes.
Nice.
I don't know what the self-reported circulating supply. I guess that's okay. That's 229 million. Okay, so that's what they've got out right now. That's why the market cap is right here. And that's why the fully diluted market cap, if they put out all billion tokens, it'd be 56 million. But what they've got circulating right now is the 229 million. That makes sense. So
awesome.
That's the FYN token. That's Affyn. The project, the game is Nexus World. It's the Pokemon Go, but on the blockchain. It's excellent. Next week, Ryan, was next week Engine? Did that sound?
I don't have my notebook, but that was definitely, it's either next week or the following. So let's go with Engine.
Let's Engine next week, and then the week after that will be Chain of Alliance, while we're working our way down towards the end of the year, getting ready for our 1-year anniversary. Only 13 years behind Bitcoin, but we're right there. Next will be the Engine token, the game engine, everything that goes along with ENJIN. I don't think I've got a trailer, but if I do, I'll show it right here.
Imagine that every game has real-life value. Imagine having true ownership of items. Imagine eradicating gray market trading. Imagine leveling your character through multiple games. Imagine being protected from scammers and hackers. Imagine fair microtransactions. Engine Coin will make that happen. It's a smart gaming cryptocurrency powered by a suite of tools that enable game developers to explore a new frontier in gaming: blockchain. Here's how it works, explained in 5 simple steps. Game developers acquire a certain amount of engine coin through an official partnership, crowdfunding, or a cryptocurrency exchange. Developers then use the engine platform and SDKs to create or mint blockchain-based gaming items. These can be anything from abundant items like custom in-game currencies, generic loot and mineable resources, to non-fungible, unique items like rare cards, breedable creatures, scarce weapons, or mighty heroes. Once the game is released, gamers can complete quests and win tokenized rewards, loot unique in-game items from vanquished enemies, collect fungible resources, and earn engine coin-backed gaming assets. Gamers can also use engine coin to securely purchase blockchain items from in-game stores or trade with each other. Gamers keep and own blockchain-based items in their private and secure engine wallets. Every transaction, whether it's trading, purchasing, or selling items, has to be confirmed by the gamer via the engine wallet. In case they're unable to sell them, players can melt their virtual items back into engine coin. This gives the player insurance, knowing their game items will always hold some value. Melting is a huge value proposition for gamers, making them more likely to purchase virtual items. Join the Engine Developer Portal and start using the Engine platform today.